Okay, so here we go, recording me studying the Song of Solomon, or sometimes called Song of Songs, in the Bible. It's a love poem written by Solomon, and it starts off, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. Pleasing is the fragrance of your perfumes, your name is like perfume poured out. No wonder the maidens love you. Take me away with you, let us hurry, let the king bring me into his chambers." So here you have the uh, first three verses of Solomon's Song of Songs, where the woman is wanting the king to kiss her. So you have a slave girl that's been working in the vineyards, and she wants to be married to the king over here, which is King Solomon. And King Solomon at the time was a child. So you have Solomon single, and David's about to die, which is Solomon's father, that was king over Israel. And it was God had came to David and said that his son was going to build the temple. And so after David's uh, death, you have King Solomon reigning. But at the time that the Solomon was written, that this was written, here's verse 2 when she says, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his lips." She's saying this at a time when he's a child and she's single, but he's going to be the new king. So that's why she says, "Let the king bring me into his chambers." Here's this in verse 4. So she's wanting to have a close, intimate relationship with Solomon, and she's a Gentile enemy slave girl. Where do we get that she's a Gentile enemy slave girl? We'll go over here to verse 6. She says that uh, do not stare at me because I am dark, because I'm darkened by the sun. So she's sunburnt and darkened by the sun. And her mother's sons were angry with me and made me take care of the vineyards. So right here, being made to take care of the vineyards means that she's a slave. She's not taking care of her own vineyard, but she's being forced to take care of someone else's vineyard. So she's in forced labor and wanting to be married to the King of Israel, to a Messiah of Israel, a type of Jesus Christ. So here we have a woman who's a Gentile enemy slave girl that's sunburned, and the sunburn lets everybody know that she's an enemy of God. So she's a natural born enemy of God, but she gets born again. She gets love in her heart and wants to marry Solomon. So, in her words, her wanting to be married to Solomon and have a close, intimate relationship with him is written here. So, this is the first words of the woman, or her feelings and thoughts expressed in words here for us to see what she's thinking and feeling when she first falls in love with Solomon. So they haven't met yet, and yet she knows some things about him. He's got a good character. Where is that? Right here. Pleasing is fragrance. Your name is like perfume poured out. So the name Solomon would carry with it being a king of peace, that there was going to be a time of rest during his reign. All kinds of wonderful things would happen when Solomon was king. So just the mention of his name was pleasing to her. And so she says here that she wants him and wants him as her husband because of two main reasons. The first one is because his name is like perfume poured out. It's very pleasing to her, like the smell of perfume when it comes out. And also, it says here, your love is more delightful than wine. So to have him love her in a marriage context would be more delightful than wine. So she wants him because of the superlative delightfulness of his love. We see that in verse 2 right here. Your love is more delightful than wine, and your name is like perfume poured out. So she loves him. And also, no wonder the young women love you. So it's all the women wanted Solomon because of who he was. He was a king. He was a Messiah of Israel. There's going to be peace during his reign. God's going to give him wisdom and riches beyond anyone, and there's going to be no king that's going to be his equal that would ever live next to Jesus Christ. So she says also in verse 4, "Take me away with you, let us hurry, let the king bring me into his chambers." So this is her wanting multiple kisses from him because his love is more delightful than wine, and he has a character that is praiseworthy, that is pleasing, and wants to be kissed by him over and over again, and that to happen in his chambers. Let the king bring me into his chambers. Kissing in public was forbidden. We see that in the end of chapter 7, where you can't kiss in public at the time. But some people would say she's wanting more than kisses here, but in the context here, she says, let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth and let the king bring me into his chambers. So I'm only saying that she wants a close, intimate relationship with him in marriage because they're not married now, and she wants to get multiple kisses from him over and over again, because every expression of his kiss is an expression of love from him, which would be more pleasing and more delightful than wine. So let's go over what she says here a little bit more in detail in this first verse. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth. And I'm going to go over the song verse by verse. Actually, before this is the title, which is Solomon's Song of Songs. So, without going in a lot of detail, this is superlative here. Song of Songs is a song above all other songs that Solomon wrote. Solomon wrote how many songs? Do you guys remember? 1,005 songs and over 3,000 proverbs. But so this is a love song. It's obviously a love poem. If you go to Song 8:6, you're going to see for love is, and there's love. So over 60 times shows up in this poem, but it's a love poem that is meant to be sung, and I believe sung at weddings. So this was a love song. And so what's the purpose of a love song? Is to help us understand what love is. To help us understand what love is. And so this song helps us understand what love is better than any of the 1,005 this is probably the 1,005th song, could be any one of them really, but of the 1,005 songs, this song it helps us understand love better than any other song he wrote. Now Solomon was gifted with unmeasurable wisdom, and he wrote this song. So his unmeasurable wisdom we see over here in 1 Kings 4:29. God gave Solomon wisdom and very great insight and breadth of understanding as measureless as the sand of the seashore. So Solomon's breadth of understanding and insight and wisdom was measureless. So Solomon had unmeasurable wisdom. Imagine a guy who had unmeasurable wisdom and great insight, as measureless as the sand of the sea, and he writes a love poem. So, and he gets married and he loves his wife. So women out there, imagine being married to a guy with unmeasurable wisdom. And not only did he have unmeasurable wisdom, but if you go to the end of the song, Song 8, 6, and 7, his love, many waters can quench love. Many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. So you see that? Maybe I'll zoom in on that. If you guys, I don't know if you guys can see that or not too well, but I'm going to zoom in there so you can see that. And at the end of the love poem, we get a glimpse into the definition of what love is. And one of the things that is it's unquenchable. The love which Solomon and this woman had for each other was unquenchable. Nothing could quench it. Many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. So now you have a man that is possessed with unquenchable love, and a love that's as strong as death. Its jealousy is unyielding as the grave. It burns like a blazing fire, like a mighty flame. So it's also a flame above all other flames they have in their heart. So this word here for mighty flame, like a mighty flame, the mighty there, of how they translate that is because it's a superlative flame. So in a Song of Songs, you also have a superlative flame. We'll put that in there, superlative flame, which is a flame above all other flames, meaning their love was the hottest, the most intense, the most purest love above all other loves, is illustrated here in the song with her love to him and his love to her. And also Jerusalem's, the people of Jerusalem, the daughters of Jerusalem's love to the bride and her love to them, they all become one. So it's a flame above all other flames. So it's a love above all other loves, which is why in Song 5:10 you have Solomon being the chief lover among 10,000. So if you line up 10,000 lovers, 10,000 marriages, 10,000 people who have loved somebody in marriage, and you put Solomon is the king of all lovers, most beloved above all other beloveds, because why? He's got unmeasurable wisdom and he's got unquenchable love. And then this woman falls in love with him, and then says, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth." So you she says let, so we're going to go verse by verse. A lot of that was context, so what we're going to do is go word by word. Okay, this is the end of part 1. Part 2 is posted as well, and in part 3 there's applications, so be sure to watch those videos.